Hello, this is Daryl at 10 Foot Truck, Good Attitude Services. It's actually snowed outside. This is the first time this winter that it's stuck on the ground and it's cold enough to stay on the ground. It's on the truck. So I'm going to see if I can open the trunk. Of course, it's not that much compared to last year. This is pretty mild. Really isn't that much snow. It's supposed to snow tonight too, I think. Tomorrow. Let's see if we can get the truck open here. Sometimes it gets frozen. It might not be cold enough. Let's see. Stick freeze up on there. What you do is you leave the snow on there, it freezes up and you can't open the door. So pull that out, dry it off. There we go. Get that off the bumper. There you go. We got snow, look at that. Get the truck here. I still haven't got rid of the washer yet. I didn't call the guy because it was snowing. I didn't want it to come out here. Plus I have to drain it still. And it's probably an ice block in there, but anyway, so I'll be doing that today or tomorrow maybe. I don't have any jobs booked right now because the roads didn't really get plowed out here too well. I mean, I think they plowed them, but it gets really slick with this truck. The way it drives, not very well on the snow, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the day off. But anyway, so we got some snow out there. This is actually the first snowfall. Well, no, not the first snowfall. This is the first snow that we got that actually is sticking on the ground and staying there. I mean, it's not that much compared to the years before this, where it gets up, sometimes a foot of snow and it gets way colder. This is February, so this is actually unusual. Usually we don't get a lot of snowstorms in February, maybe one or two, but so that's fine. I don't know, I guess there's supposed to be snow tomorrow and the rest of the week is supposed to be really cold, so this may stick for a while. So we'll see if I can get the truck out tomorrow. If not, that's fine. I'll just wait week. Yeah, I gotta oil that. I noticed my the roll-up door is getting a little bit sticky. I need to get some sort of something to maybe lubricate it a little bit. It's I haven't really checked on those because they do get stiff and it sticks a little bit. I mean, this truck's 20 years old almost. Surprised it's still doing as well as it is. The motor's great. Transmission I had rebuilt at 100,000, so should be okay for a little bit longer. I don't know how long this transmissions last, depending on if you're towing or something. I'm not towing anything. I've towed my car once to come over here, but as far as towing on a regular basis, even though I have a tow hitch, I don't really recommend it unless you're, it's hard on the transmission. So unless you have to, I wouldn't tow a trailer either on this. I got enough room back here. If I had to tow a trailer, yeah, it'd be fine. But I'd prefer maybe to get a different vehicle, like a cargo van or another pickup truck to do that exclusively. Something with a bigger motor than this one. This is a 4-point, what is it, a Vortec? It's not quite a 5-liter. Is it a 4.7? Not exactly sure. I think it's 4.7. I don't know exactly, but it's a small block. I'd probably get a bigger motor to do towing and probably a different transmission. I mean, this one's made to tow dollies because the U-Haul rents these with the tow dollies and it has a tow package. So yeah, it's fine, but just to extend the life of the truck and the transmission, I would just rather just haul stuff in the back and get a different vehicle for trailer use. And I'm looking at vans and seeing, I haven't really come to I think I'm gonna wait because it seems to me like the prices are still fairly high for commercial vehicles, and I think at some point there'll be so much supply that the prices will have to come down at some point, because right now the supply is it's high, but it still seems like their prices are higher than they should be. I'm looking at vans, and a lot of the vans, even older ones, older than this, they want $4,000 or $5,000 for. This one I bought brand new. Well, not brand new. It was used, but when I bought it, it was $8,000. Of course, it had problems that needed to be fixed, but that was the price back then. I think they're still selling around this year. I would look at these vans or this type of box truck. They're still selling them this old for like $10,000, $9,000, $10,000. So they hold their value because they are a tool. So when you buy a truck or a van, like a cargo van, a box truck, something like this, it's a tool, especially something like that's this size. If you get bigger, like I've noticed when I was looking at U-Haul for, in fact, I was offered, I was working with a guy years ago before I bought this vehicle. He had a 30-foot moving van with the ramps, at like, I don't know, 2 or 3 ramps. It had all the equipment for a moving. It was a moving company that he had sold, or he had stopped doing his moving business, but he still had the truck, but he wanted to sell his truck to me, and he was going to give me all the blankets, all the moving pads, all the dollies, the ramps, everything, all the equipment to run a moving company. And it's a 30-foot truck, and I think he wanted 5 back then, 5 or 6,000, which is really good. But I've noticed that the smaller box trucks are more expensive than the bigger ones. When you're buying them through U-Haul, at least that's what I've looked at. I've seen, because I think it's because the plumbers and the electricians, they buy these smaller ones. They don't need anything. You don't want anything too big where you can't get around and park and stuff. And for customers' houses, you can park in a regular spot with these. With a bigger vehicle, like a bigger 26 or even a 14 and 20 foot, it's going to be difficult to park into your regular slots. So you'll have to probably end up renting a storage place to park it, which I don't have to. I can park this right at the house. So they are more convenient, and I think they're more attractive to people who are doing smaller, businesses, or like plumbing, electrical, not necessarily moving companies. The moving companies want the bigger ones, but you can get the bigger ones, I know, I've looked, for a little bit cheaper. So if you're looking at a moving van, a bigger size, you might be able to get them cheaper than the smaller box truck, the 10-foot. Like the 20 foots, the 26, even the 26 foots, I think are even cheaper than the 14 footers. Because you have to have a DOT at least to get it to a heavier weight like that. You're gonna have to get registered with DOT. Where this one is 8,000 gross weight, so it's under 10,000, so you don't have to register with the DOT. So that's another advantage as to like a 26 foot box truck, which is over the 10,000 gross weight. And I'm not sure if the 14 foot is, but I would think that the 20 foot or the 26 foot or the 30 foot, those will all be required to have a DOT registered number. And so that's going to cost you more money, and the insurance is going to be higher too when you get those bigger vehicles, I'm pretty sure, the weights and all that. Plus you have dualies on there, the dual tires, so you're going to have to tire costs, it's going to be more expensive, I think, to maintain that. And then of course storing it and parking it. That's the reason why I didn't buy the 30 foot, because I thought that was a great price, but at the time I had limited parking space, and it's getting cold out here. I had limited parking space that I couldn't have fit a 30 foot, but I could fit this vehicle here because it's just like the size of a van. So that's why I like this. But yeah, I'm not going to look for a bigger vehicle. The next vehicle I'm going to get is going to be actually smaller than this. It's going to be a cargo van, which is basically the same setup, just not with a box. I'm not sure I'm going to get the tall cargo van or just your regular size cargo van. I've been looking at them, but I do want the panel van, not the I don't want windows. Like, see how this, the box, You can put whatever you want in the boxes. It's really solid, like fiberglass or some kind of fiberboard or whatever you call it. It's very thick. You look at it in here. Look how thick it goes in there. You can't even, I mean, stuff is smashed up against these walls for years. Nothing's put even a chip in here. It's just scratches. It's just really solid. You could, I put really heavy items and you can hear them smashing against the wall. But it's just scratches. They're reinforced really well. These boxes are built. They're just like a tank. I mean, they're really built well. These side rails are solid. I only had one loosen up on there on the other side. But over the years, these are great. They hold a lot of weight. So if I'm gonna get a cargo van, I want something with, you know, like a panel van. I don't want windows, because when I rented that Ford Transit, and it had windows on the side, and I had to load it to where I was putting blankets and making sure that the load wasn't going to go into the window, because if you have like a bed frame, you know, those are pretty heavy and they're solid metal, some of those bed frames. If it was on this side and then when you turn a corner and went like this, you could smash your window out. So because of the fact, you know, you can get those for pretty reasonable price, but because of the fact that that you have to deal with a window, it would always be a worry to me as far as loading certain things, especially if you're doing junk hauling. You don't want to worry so much. Just want to throw stuff in there. So I want a panel van, solid wall. I don't want windows in the back. I don't want windows on the side. And that's why these are great, because you could store stuff back here, and it's not gonna damage the walls. At least not. I mean, really have to. I don't know what could damage these walls, really, to tell you the truth. They're solid. So that's what I'm looking for in panel vans. The ones without the windows are much more difficult to find. Like even the U-Haul ones have the windows. So the ones when you're looking at U-Haul selling, the ones they sell, those have the windows on the side and the back. Or do they? I know they have them on the side. I'm not sure about the back. But so that's what I'm looking at, and they're hard to find. They're not as easy, and they're usually probably more expensive. So I don't know if I'm going to get one of those. Hopefully, maybe a smaller one. But if I'm going to get another vehicle, that's what it's going to be. Probably a cargo van. You know, you can put just as much, pretty much the same amount of hauling, and you just can't stand up in them like this. Now, if you get the tall Sprinter van, you can stand up on them. I did a job. I did some commercial jobs for a high-end mattress company. They contracted me to do some of their mattresses. Now they had a panel van. They had a panel van, but it was one of those Sprinter vans, the tall ones, and those are great. But the guy, the owner who he owned the van, he was using it for deliveries for his mattresses and his furniture. And when I brought my truck over, he said he prefers something like this because it's square. So the other ones are kind of rounded on the side. They have like the wheel wells. It's a bit different the way it's set up inside. He said it's probably easier to load these, but I didn't see a problem with it. If you're doing junk hauling, probably that doesn't make much of a difference. Moving, maybe it may be a little harder to load. I know even this one, if you're moving with a bigger van, it's so much easier, like a 20-foot or a 26-foot. It's really not that hard to load those because they're tall. They have a lot of space. It's really challenging when you're doing moving with these loading stuff, because you have to really load it efficiently, because there's not a lot of space. So that's the only problem with these in moving. You can only move like studios or small one bedrooms. So it would be great to have a bigger truck. I just don't have a place to store it. And then you got to pay the insurance. So like if you're not using it all the time and it's just sitting there and you're paying the insurance, you know, you want to be using it all the time. Since I'm not a mover, I mean, I do moving jobs, but I'm not a moving company. It wouldn't really make sense to that expense to have that expense of insurance and storage fees, you know, storing the vehicle. So in that case, I think it'd be better to have this or a van, and then just rent U-Hauls if you need a bigger truck for a bigger job. Just rent a U-Haul or whatever truck, you mean, Penske or something. I used to rent Penske's. They're good too, especially the ones with the lift gates. I wish I had a lift gate on this one. Unfortunately, I don't. I've seen them. But yeah, I'm happy with this truck. It's done me well. It's been a great truck for the last 10 years. And we'll see. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna keep the truck, or when I'm gonna get a van. It's just a thought. But so far, this truck's still doing great, and still moving along. The only issue is driving in the snow. I saw this cargo van. I think it was the GMC. GMC, which is this? What is it? This is a GMC. Can't remember what they call them, because when I used to work for a bakery. I had a job years ago. I was working for a bakery. I did the baking and also did the deliveries. That was a great job. But the delivery truck was one of these GMC. They're like a smaller van, and they were really easy to drive. And I saw one like that. I think it was probably late 90s model or maybe early 2000. Can't remember the name of the van, but it's a smaller GMC, but it's a cargo van, but it's all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, so you could drive those in the snow. I'm like, now that would be great. And they only wanted about, I think it was like $3,000 for that one. So that would be something to look into, because I did remember when I drove for that bakery that I loved that van. It was a great, it drove nice, it parked easy, it was really reliable. So I think that van was in the 90s. It was in the 90s, but I think they made those type of vans, and I can't remember the name of them. Another GMC. I think they made them up into the early 2000s. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna look into those, because I remember how reliable they were, and the fact that they're four-wheel drive. Now, of course, that's more expensive when you're talking about your transmission, but you know, that's the way it goes with all that. So it's getting a bit cold in here. I think I'm gonna go back in the house. I just wanted to do a little video about the snow and how we're gonna get some more snow here. And it's a little bit late in the year for snowstorms, at least out here. And we don't really typically have snowstorms in March here. I don't think ever. Maybe ice, rain, I don't know. But usually February is, from my experience, I haven't been here, I've only been here 5 years, but in my experience out here, the snow season pretty much ends in February, and you usually get a storm like this, and then once it's over with, it's that's it. And it's just cold. It's usually cold and rainy and cold, maybe some ice all the way up until April, sometimes until early June, and then it warms up, and then that's when you have the nice warm weather. Then it gets really hot, and that's the weather I don't like. I prefer this weather than hot weather, but that's the way it goes out here. So I hope everyone's doing great this week. It's the beginning of the week, and I'm probably not going to do a lot of work this week because of weather things going on here, and if I can get the truck out of here. But other than that, I know for sure next week I'll be doing some jobs. Got to call the guy out about the washer, and then that's about it. And doing some marketing. That's why I'm doing a video. Got to do something every day. Anyway, this is Daryl at 10 Foot Truck Good Attitude Services. Have a great weekend.